So my name is Dan Viens. You can find me on Twitter at dviens. I'm one of the 60 Weeks students. And full disclosure, this week we were told by the people who organized this event to keep it clean. Sometimes we have these things on Ustream, and I thought, wow, I mean, if a kid can see this and stumble upon this on Ustream, they can probably see some other sick shit. So tonight I was going to talk to you about a toddler's guide to internet pornography. I just figured they need a guide through this terrible, terrible world of really disgusting things online. And then I just thought maybe that wouldn't be appropriate, and I don't know that much about toddlers. So instead I'm just going to ask you a question. And I'm ripping this question off from Radiolab, which is on NPR. It's from WNYC. And basically there's a guy out there who does these one-question surveys, and he walks up to people on the street. So in a few seconds, the question's going to come up, and I want you to answer it for yourself, and I want you to answer just truthfully. You don't have to say it out loud, but I would like for you to really think about it for 20 seconds. The question is, do you think man will ever exist in a world without war? It's pretty heavy, it's big, but think about it. Do you believe we could ever live in a world without war? War has been kind of a big part of our existence for a long, long time. It's the reason we have countries, it's the reason we have holy wars. So this question on its face seems to be about hippies or pacifism or just your opinion on political and cultural things. But it's a lot deeper than that. It really gets into how you feel about the people around you, how you feel about the rest of the people in the world, and it really gets to your sort of ideas about human nature. And it asks the question, can we change? Can we actually change our nature over time? And that's a pretty big question because that's everything. And so my answer to this is yes, I believe we can. And I think there's a lot of evidence to show that we have. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to look at a couple of different guys. So we'll start with the stereotypical man in 2010 BC, about 4,000 years ago. He's way into things like fire. He doesn't like saber-toothed tigers. He spends his time fashioning clubs. And his days are spent hunting, gathering, and prototyping the wheel. This doesn't bear much similarity to what the stereotypical man in 2010 AD is. The obvious is that he's much less hairy. He's into things like women, sports, and beer. He's hitting clubs as opposed to making clubs. He likes Facebooking and making plans. And he's prototyping the perfect man cave, so that shows that we've still got some primal instincts left in us. One of the things that I think is driving our change is technology. If you had this guy's number, you could call him right now. That's a sea change. That's insane. The other thing technology does for us is it allows us to understand problems in a way never before. Think back to 2010 BC. They worship the sun. We understand the sun. Now we can understand huge things and their solutions. Think about the idea that you could solve or at least make an impact on both global terrorism and global warming by using less oil in the United States. Ride a bike, walk to work, do those things. Quantifiable problems, quantifiable solutions that a lot of people understand. But then there's these people. They don't get it. They refuse to acknowledge these problems, and they refuse to take steps to really solve them. So what I'm here today to ask you to do is stop arguing with these people. It's time to stop arguing. It's time to start saying, you're dumb, we're voting you off the island. Thanks to Alice and Ken Smith, we learned something here at Boulder Digital Works. Call bullshit. And that's what we need to do in these types of conversations. People who understand the science behind problems and understand the real solutions need to call bullshit. It's not about engaging them in arguing. Arguing sets us back. So this brings up an experiment that happened in Russia starting in the 50s, is still going on. This is a silver fox descended from a wild fox. In 10 years of breeding away from aggressive behavior, they created foxes that are white, wag their tails when they're happy, and have floppy ears. The other ones get killed. I'm not looking to kill people. What I am looking to do is have institutionalized cultural peer pressure to get rid of the Hummer drivers, to get rid of the people who refuse to acknowledge real problems. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you a couple of things we can start with. And we're going to build from sort of basic to really big. BCS national title game. horseshit. They need a tournament. Barack Obama is behind it. We can do this. Anybody from now on who says, no, I like the system. No, okay, I'm not going to spend 5 minutes talking to you. You're wrong. The people who get it, we're going to move on with a tournament, and it's going to be amazing. Next, we're going to get a little more substantial. The swag at South by Southwest, and in general, has to stop. I spent 2 hours sorting mine and my housemates getting rid of it. It's ridiculous. The brand stuff in there, no one looks at. It's garbage, it's landfill. Understand it as landfill, stop the swag, stop the free squishy balls and all of that. We'll get a little bit bigger, a little more substantial here. Bottled water, stop drinking it, stop. The petroleum that goes into making this, the fossil fuels that go into bringing it somewhere, and the landfills most of it ends up in is ridiculous. Cups work so well for thousands of years. Let's go back to them. And now seriously, things like war and genocide. A lot of times with things like this in Rwanda, it takes a long time for governments to recognize what's going on. People like us need to stop, not engage in arguments, but forcefully say, no, I refuse to listen to the way you're doing things. And I think this is something we're learning here at Boulder Digital Works. A lot of what we learn can be used for brands and companies, and that's important. But it can also be used to develop tools and help people better use tools to make massive, important change so that we can move forward as a culture and as a world. And I think giving these people tools and giving them ideas about how to use tools and connect is one of the most powerful things that can ever have been done on this planet. And I think everybody in this room, from the board members to the students to the people visiting, are in a position to do that. And I really hope you join me in that. Thanks.